And that was an awesome asset because 8 years later we sold it for $265,000. So it made 10 grand in 8 years. So that was pretty decent. That was a shit box. Hello, Frank.
Hello.
Got an exciting episode today.
Today, we've broken down my portfolio.
Yes.
I'm not sure what episode that was. Maybe
Not 56.
not 56, maybe 50 or something like that.
I think it was.
We are now doing your portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of changes that happened in yours recently, and there's something going on right now, so which is pretty cool.
Yep.
But it always wasn't. It always wasn't rosy. Rosy. What's the saying they say?
Rosy.
Rosy.
It was horrible. It was a shit portfolio.
Shit portfolio. So I think people may know what you've got now or some of the properties you've spoken about, but I think let's bring it back from day one where it all started, what happened.
Yep.
How you got into those investments, how you analyze those investments, and where you are now.
Cool.
So number one, what was the first property that you got into, and I guess why and how?
Number one property was Brunswick, around the corner from where I lived. It was a unit. $255,000 I paid for that in 2012.
255.
$255,000, which is 13 years ago. So I was 18 years old. Beautiful mother said, go and buy a property. My brother and I bought the same property in the same complex.
So one each.
One each, correct. And that was an awesome asset because 8 years later we sold it for $265,000. So it made 10 grand in 8 years. So that was pretty decent. That was a shit box.
Why?
Why?
Not just for the growth, but what else? Did anything else happen to it?
It was an apartment, a unit in a complex of 40 plus, 36 plus, I think. Nothing special about it. It was on a main road. And it just, like, there was nothing special about the asset. It wasn't like it had a bigger bathroom or it was just literally the exact same. So even the rental yield was pretty horrible. It was renting for like $280 a week. So.
And did that rent increase over time?
Not really. No.
No? Not
increased? No, it was $240 when I bought it. $280 when I sold it. It kind of went up. At one point it was at $310, but then by the time I sold it was there.
I came back down.
I remember I had to drop it. It's pretty bad.
And when you say apartments, was it new style, old school? Like old school apartments?
We had so many levies on the asset. My brother now is still trying to sell his one. He's held it. He's kind of paid it off. So that's a good sign of different investors there. He's held on to that asset, but he's been trying to sell it, cannot sell it. The amount of levies that he's paying, I think he paid like an $8,000 levy last year for something crazy. Fuck. So
even though it's cash flow positive, once you factor levies, rates, utilities.
Well, it wasn't cash flow positive for me. It was still costing me money.
Yeah, but even for your brother, like there's not much left, is there?
He's been trying to sell it. He knows, like he's obviously bought how many properties now with us? 5 properties, 4 properties.
Something like that, yeah.
Him and his missus. So he knows what, like you can get better yields and better growth out of a proper asset, which we'll take you through shortly. So he's been trying to sell it for 6 months. He can't sell it.
So you bought that apartment?
Yep.
What year was that?
2012.
2012. Then when was the next one?
The next one, my brother and I, we had the
brainstorm. Didn't you?
Yeah.
Brainstorm had a pay. You had a projector.
Yeah.
Spreadsheet. Yeah. PDF. You said, "Oh,
what's the movie we like?
We've got a new plan."
Stepbrothers.
Yeah,
Boats
like Stepbrothers. Yeah.
When we had the
boats and hose, you're going to say, "Okay, we're going to come up with a nice plan." And
the strategy was fucking genius. We went, let's try and own the whole complex. So we thought, we bought the property for $255. There's properties now selling for $275 in that same complex. So we're like, fuck, we've made $20,000 in 2 years. We were none the wiser, right? My mother was our chief finance officer. She was our buyer's agent. She'd never bought an investment property in her life. She told us, go and buy another property. You've saved up another deposit. We saved up like 35, 40 grand or whatever it was. Like, well, hard workers, 18 to 20. We bought the same property, another property in the same complex, but Anthony and I together, my brother. That was even better. So we bought that for $275. We sold that like 6 years later. We paid that thing off. We completely paid it off. We just thought that was the way to do it. Paid it off, sold it for $255. So we sold it, I think, for
20
less. We sold it for less than what we bought it for, which
so
that was pretty good.
A loss.
Yeah.
Do you know what the same thing for the rents went up, down, or
300 or 280, 300? Yeah.
Same bedrooms or
yeah, no, exact same. One bedders. We did a lot of work on those things. the standard stuff.
So when did you sell both of these at the same time? The ones you...
A year apart.
And what year was that when you sold them?
2023, 2024.
So bought 2012, the other one was 2015?
2014 or 2015, yeah, one of those.
2015 and then 2023, 2024 sold.
Yep. So made a complete loss on those, that's fine. Third property,
What year is that?
2017, when did we go?
2018 or 2019, I think it was.
2018, I think. Anyway,
End of 2018 or something like that.
4 years later, because obviously we're saving up this deposit ourselves, we haven't got any equity. Bought another property. That was the third property I bought. That was the one in Faulkner, 600 square metre, 650 square metre block. We bought it for 600K. Broker ran off. That property we sold.
Yeah, but you tell the story how you bought that property, because I think that's quite interesting.
Okay.
Once again, this is part of the brainstorm plan. that we
Yeah,
had
this
with-
is my brother and I taking over the world in the property space, right? Two bananas. It was yourself, me,
yeah,
my
I was
sister, my brother. We're like, okay, we're going to go and look for a property today, right? This is so common as well. It was a Saturday. I remember it was raining. You and I we were like, oh, we're going to go look for property. You had just bought a property or just about it?
no, I haven't bought a property. No, I haven't bought one. I haven't bought a property at all.
Okay.
0 properties, but I'm looking to get in.
Cool. So you were at the stage where you were looking. We went out and we were like, okay, well, let's go to, this auction, this auction, this auction. As we we're leaving my house, my old man goes, oh, where you going? He goes, we're like, oh, we're going to auction today. And he went, cool, let me come with you. So he was literally last minute. Came, jumped in the car. Remember, it was all cold. People were sitting in the back.
It was raining. I remember it was raining.
Yeah, raining. It was fucking freezing. You guys were sitting in the back. I think I was driving or my old man was driving. We went there, we're talking, da-da-da. Go into the place.
First property.
First auction of the day. Go there. Remember when we walked out? We walked in there. The place was shithole, had mold in it.
Sinking floors.
We literally walked out of there and went, oh, this place is shithole. I don't even think it's going to sell, right? Anyway, my old man, as he does, he's sitting there with the real estate agent. He knew the real estate agent. He's talking to the real estate agent. They're under the umbrella. We're on the other side. We're like, oh, what are we thinking? Let's look at the next property that we're going to go to. This one's just going to sell. The auction starts. No one bids. My old man's standing next to the real estate agent, not the real estate agent, not the auctioneer, the agency owner.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck was going through his mind, right? I still don't. He still doesn't. But as it's once, twice, 3 and final time, no one's bid. My old man puts his hand up. And me and my brother look at each other and we go, what the fuck? What's he doing? And the guy's gone, no, we need once, twice, sold. And we looked at each other and we went, what
did he buy that property at?
$600,000, which was asking price, right? Now, don't get it twisted. It was probably a bargain. It probably was cheaper than what, I guess, like it's 2018, 600K. Like it went through a nice spurt, right? I think at its peak, had we sold it at its peak, it would have been worth 900, 950 in a couple of years. But we didn't sell it at its peak because we didn't know what the fuck we were doing.
So your man, Prestige Worldwide, puts
Yes.
his hand up with
Yes.
the great master plan that he had and buys his property.
Didn't think he'd buy the property. He didn't think. Now, when
So when he says he doesn't think, he was like, oh yeah, let me just try and see what happens.
he just, I don't know. He never bought a property in his life, right? Never bought an investment. Neither my parents have, right? Which is fine. That's completely fine. So he did that. We went inside, my brother, my sister and I, and they're like, you got to go up to 630, 640 to be able to do it. I'm like, guys, I don't want to buy this property. I'm going to walk out. Anyway, we left there. We paid a 10% deposit. We almost lost that property. I won't go too deep into it. That asset, we just sold that asset last year. We did a pretty big renovation to it. We sold that asset 2 years ago or last year for $780,000.
Yeah, 788 or 790.
788,
Yeah.
780, whatever it is. Now, people will hear that and go, oh, that's done better. With that, we held that asset for 7 years, 7.5 years, and it made 180K. Like, that's a very, very, very bad return, well less than the Australian average. So those are my first 3 assets. Thankfully, all those assets are now out of my portfolio. The portfolio is obviously very, very different. Very different now.
But you, back then, you weren't a buyer's agent. That wasn't even on the cards.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Just working.
Well, I mean, obviously now, today, that last asset was the catalyst for both you and I to actually start the business, because at the exact same period, you went through a buyer's agency, you lost a lot of money.
Yep. And
And I also lost, I was 2 days away from losing my deposit because the broker ran off 2 days before settlement on that Faulkner property. So
And then you had to get. Oh, we can get that's a story for another day. But
Another story. We had to get cash. We
You
had
had to pay off the property fully outright nearly because you
360K
couldn't
deposit.
even borrow that much back
Correct.
then. Yeah,
Correct.
Anyway, so we move on.
So very different. No strategy, no plan, no research, no team. All the things that people take for granted when they work with the buyer's agency. And I think what I'm saying, maybe it hasn't happened specifically to you as the viewer, but it's things that happen. You don't do research on a property. Don't expect the property to go crazy. People constantly think of that it's just easy to build a portfolio. It's really not. It's really not. So
It's not, but it's changed and evolved, and you've gone through a lot of ups and downs with the portfolio because you've bought some, you sold some.
Yep.
But I think now it's from there you didn't stop, which was good. And then in 2021, I remember you bought the next property.
Correct.
So let's we'll talk about the bad, but now let's talk about the good now.
Yep.
So what was that first one? Oh, the next one after that, number 4 at that point in time, because I think you still had the other property still, because you said you sold in 2023, 2024, and then you sold the last one. Yeah, the other one, the Faulkner one, 2024 as well.
So I've sold all the bad buys in the last 2 years, correct?
So you get number 4, but in 2021,
Yep.
What is that property?
Duplex on a 1,500 square metre block in beautiful Bundaberg. That's the one that you and I sourced, or you sourced mainly.
When I saw that, I go, this we have to buy this right now.
Yep. So I remember that was a duplex in Bundaberg, and that was really in the first kind of 18 months that we had started our business. Now,
I don't think we had any clients. Or one or two. We had a few clients.
had a few clients. We were always confident with the research because you dedicated from 2018 to 2022 or 2020 now even, but to 2020 when we started the business, you dedicated every waking minute to it. So we were never concerned about the research. We knew that Bundaberg was going to explode. Did we expect what it's done? Probably not, but we bought the asset for $412. It was renting for $580 a week.
580
a week,
60 or something like that.
$580 a week. Duplex, 1,500 square metre block. The property today's worth close to 900. We got Val's done. I've actually got it here. I'll use my
980 or something or 9.
No. It's worth 890. I think you wrote 980 here, which is fine. It's worth 890. So it's well and truly doubled. It's done like 115% growth in 4 years, and the rents have gone from 580 to 960.
Jeez, that's huge.
So it's doubled the value in price, and it's doubled the value in rent in 4 years.
People listening, rent increase on average like 3 to 4% annually. That there is like a 70% increase on rent or something crazy like
75%.
that. Yeah, that's like a crazy increase.
But this is not the norm.
It's not the norm, but if you buy correctly,
Correct.
like that there, of course, that property, that's like a 12% rental yield.
Correct.
On purchase price. So you buy the property for $412, $960 a week, it's like a 12% rental yield, which is huge. Property cash flow positive?
I've taken equity out of it like 4 times, yeah. So the properties, I think, even with, because my entire portfolio is at a 71% LVR. So, and Glenview's been the majority of that equity. I've taken that out so many times. I think it's costing me, I've got the numbers there, 2.5K a year.
Not bad.
2.5K. I mean, the yield is at the property's debt is at like 7. Like I've taken the debt above what it's actually, what I first purchased it for.
So rental, by the looks of it, this purchase has been very strategic because you've been, how many properties have that property there? How many properties has that allowed you to purchase because you use the equity, you reckon?
I mean, I think probably 3 or 4 at least. I mean, to be honest with you, as you know, I'm not actually really all too across my numbers. I've got our CFO, who every single time I go and buy a property, it's literally a 3-stage thing. I speak to you, I speak to my CFO, I speak to my accountant, and I speak to my broker. And they're just all across it. So I would never know, but definitely 3 times. I know for the next 2 purchases, I only use Glenview.
Yeah, that's
because I didn't have any other equity.
So I got you 2 properties.
3 properties.
Or 3, but yeah, we know for straight away after that, I remember we went and bought another 2. So, all right, we've got this property, Glenview, Bundaberg, done extremely well, over 100%. Property number 5.
Property 5, so this is, I still held the 5 assets. I purchased it in beautiful Kadali Way. This is a beautiful home. So this is in Safety Bay in
Rockingham
in WA. And it was an older home, but it had been renovated. And I still to this day, I think I'm getting like 7 or 8K in depreciation. So it's a really, really beautiful asset. The actual home is beautiful. Like it's a really nice home. Bought it in 2023. So you got to think about it from the viewer's mind. You got to remember we had just started our business at this point. So don't think that this needs to take this long. It's taken me 10 years to buy 5 properties. We've done it the hard way and I've done it the long way. So we had just started the business. That is why I wasn't just buying an asset again and again and again and again and again, right? But next 2 years, so 2023, bought it for 480. Property's now worth 750. So it's done huge growth. It's done, almost 60% in 2.5 years, which is awesome. We're renting it now at $600 a week. So it's decent. We've had a 20% rent increase. And we're already above a 7% rental yield. And then what it actually costs us, again, because I've taken equity out a few times, it's currently costing us around, including maintenance, it's around that 12K mark.
Yep.
Okay. So that's still negative, but that's that. Do you want me releasing where we're buying? I mean, I guess we can release
some of these,
our older ones.
Let's
I won't
go.
release the newer ones. 6th purchase. So this purchase here, I'd sold off now. So I'd sold off the first apartment.
Yep.
Okay. Purchased a property in Queensland, Frenchville, in Rockhampton, 460 back in 2023. Purchased it for 460. Now 700K, which is awesome. 52% in 2 years or 2.5 years. And the rent was at 480. Now rent is at 560, I believe. It's had some decent rent increase. So we're again above that 6,000, above that 6% rental yield, which is nice.
We know Rockhampton's been a solid property market that just keeps ticking over and over. I think when we started the business in 2021, we're buying in there as well. In 2020 we started, I think. Before the real boom started, I remember buying property for like 250, 270. I bought my brother a property here for 270. We bought your mum for a property for 300.
Yep.
1,000 square meter block. I think you can subdivide that. You can do some pretty cool things. The house was fully renovated. And that market didn't take off straight away. And then 2022, we're still buying heavily in there. And then 2023, we started to see, hey, this market's doing well. I think you're probably one of the last people to kind of purchase in there. Some of our clients. And then we stopped buying in there.
Right.
And the market's still doing quite well. It's still doing very strong, but we haven't purchased there since I think you were probably the last one. And I think we got that off market at a very affordable price, that property, because that property it's a Queensland property for people that are listening, but it's got 2 levels. I think you had the undercar garage. You had a massive driveway with a sheltered garage. Like it's a pretty nice home. So awesome. So you've sold the apartment. You've got this property here. This is 2023.
2023. So 2023 was a big year for me.
So you bought 2?
3. I then bought the Wagga property, Geraldton.
In Geraldton. So that's 3 properties in 2023.
Correct.
And you sold one.
And I sold one, and then I sold the next one in 2020. Sorry, I sold 2 because at the end of 2023, I then sold the other apartment.
Okay, awesome.
Geraldton was the property that, I mean, to be honest with you, now that I look back, I probably should have bought that too. So I secured 2 properties in Wagga in Geraldton, which is always our big no-no. You never buy 2 properties in one area. But remember, we found that asset. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I remember it was like 240 or something.
It was fucking cheap. And there was a lot of work to be done on it. We pulled out at the last minute. So I purchased the asset and then we pulled out. So I got everything done. I think there was just a bit too much works for my liking. And then it was also going to hold me back because we had to do something strategic with the Falconer sale. So I'll kind of explain that. But we did purchase an asset. We purchased something in Wagga. It was a cheapie. It was $360. We bought that 2 years ago. It's pretty much done 45% growth in that period. So it's done really well. It's now worth 520. Really nice yield. It's yielding at 480. So it's yielding at that, like, again, 6%, which is awesome. And then if I look at Cooltown Drive.
What's that costing you? That's...
Where are we? 6K?
6K there. 6K is costing you to hold that property, and you've released equity to use that.
Correct.
Part of it to get into more property.
Correct.
That property there, I know for a fact that rent is way under market as well. So, because I got a property, different suburb, but we've got a lot of properties in that area for clients, 550, some are getting 600 a week in rent. So that rent will definitely be going up. So some of these properties, I know we've got to review the rent. So we're sitting down with Sebastian and seeing what we can negotiate with some of these properties. But once again, rents increase, growth has increased on the portfolio. 3 properties in 2023. We go to sell 2 properties as well that year.
Yep.
2024 come into what happens then? You sold Faulkner. You're now Faulkner.
Still have Faulkner,
but we're selling it 2024.
Correct. So 2024 is the decision that we're like, and this is where both Sebastian, so Sebastian's my CFO, and I've also have another Sebastian who's our broker, and a lot of our clients will know. We then had to strategically work through, okay, how are we going to sell Faulkner, pay off the debt, pay off all the other, because it was tied to also other assets, and that kind of put a pause on me buying. Okay, so I wasn't actually able to buy because we had this sale of Faulkner. Now, we sold Faulkner in the new financial year, so I think it was like July, August. I think we sold of 2024, so it was in the new financial year, so the financial year that just passed. We sold that, as I said, for 780, which it was what it was. I couldn't really give a shit because I sold the asset based on, is that asset producing better than what I could produce in other assets, essentially, if that makes sense. So it was holding me back from a perspective of there was a lot of debt tied up in it. There was a few different properties I bought through there. And then secondly, it was not growing at the pace that this portfolio could have been growing. It did like 4%. I think we worked it out. It was doing 4% a year over the 7 years that we held it. So it was fucking horrible, right? So we sold that at the end of 2020, or the middle of 2024. So that kind of the first 7 months of 2024, I wasn't able to buy anything. I didn't buy anything. However, from that point, I've then gone on to purchase another 3 assets. Okay. One being this year. So we purchased commercial asset in Brizzy. We purchased one in Tassie, and we purchased, I can't say the address, we purchased one in Victoria.
So the commercial property.
Yep.
You can probably share that one. Where do we buy that one?
Southport.
So
Brisbane, Queensland.
Industrial.
Yep.
Resi.
Industrial.
Retail.
780 purchase price. It's a whole complex of them, all brand new.
Yep.
Really cool for depreciation. I think we're getting like 20K a year, which is pretty awesome.
Nice.
780. It's yielding at 6%. Purchased in 2024. We're renting
6 net.
6 net.
So all outgoings are paid by a tenant.
Yep. 100% loan, and the asset is costing us 6K. Like, it's pretty good.
That's on old rates, but isn't it? Because that rate's going from 7.3. So speaking of Sebastian,
correct.
We're taking down to 6.5 or 6.
Correct. So that'll turn into positive straight off the bat on 100% equity.
Yep.
So
that's nice.
That's beautiful. That's awesome for the portfolio. That is, I still question whether or not that is the right move for my portfolio, if I'm honest. I say that because now, I guess, and I'll walk you through the values of the whole portfolio. The goal is to kind of get to 5-6 mil. I mean, we're already at 5 mil. Once we're at that 5, 6, 7 mil, whatever the number needs to be, start paying down the debt or start selling off the assets to then get the cash flow. I don't know whether or not buying the commercial asset was the right move. I'm not 100% sure, depending on how well it grows. We're pretty confident that it is going to do very, very well. It's awesome for cash flow. The property's not costing me 10 to 15, but I don't know. Time will tell.
The growth, you're more worried about, will it grow in the next 5 to 10 years? You use that equity, or if it's going to, help you buy more properties with that.
Correct.
You purchase.
Correct.
Cash flow is great, but it's not a necessity for you at this point in time.
Well, it's also not changing my life as well. Like, it's still costing me $6,000.
But it's their growth is not as strong as your resi property. So in your eyes, it's like, is it the right choice or not?
Correct. Whereas
I say that.
But we'll see. So, and I'll explain to you what I'm going to do over the next couple of purchases.
With that, but is that you put a 20%? I know you got 100% loan, but that was only a 20% deposit.
Correct.
All up. So
correct.
Yeah, it's not like it's a massive deposit down on a commercial. But I think long term that property do well. Have you got a value done? I know you just purchased that recently, but there's no point even.
No.
Yeah, so we haven't done a value on that. Commercial is quite different to evaluations. You got to pay for them.
Yep. So, but that was that property. Next one was in Tassie. A lot of our clients, you will always see, I always say, hey, we're neighbours, because all of our clients, or a lot of our clients that we're buying in for this particular asset, I've literally have a property around the corner. So
Tassie, when's that? 2025 or 24?
That was purchased 2025 at the start of
So this year.
I believe it was actually purchased at the end of last year.
But we've settled in 2025.
Correct. So 2025. So it's actually
we settled in March, I think.
correct. It might have been purchased in January.
Whatever it was.
That period, right? We've held the asset for like 5-6 months, 4 or 5 months. Purchased for 445. It's already done quite a bit of growth. It's done like 8% in 4 or 5 months. So that's happy days.
Nice.
Renting for 420. So it's the lowest yielding asset in my portfolio.
What yield's that?
Or just shy of 5.
Okay.
So the asset's costing us that 12-ish, give or take. Because again, it's 100% lend.
Okay.
So
Not bad for a 5% yield, but because if that was 100% on maybe in a different state, you're probably looking at a little bit more because
16, 18.
yeah, because the rates and utilities are a lot cheaper in Tassie.
Yep.
So I think your rent, what's your insurance would be like $1,000 a year. Your rates are about
1,400, I believe. 14. I might be wrong on that.
nah, but I think it's lower than that.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've got one there too. It's a lot cheaper though. It's like $1,000 a week.
Okay.
In insurance, and then and then I think your rate's about 1,800 compared to that Queensland WA. That's more than they're more than double than that.
Yep.
Some of the rates.
The yield goes a lot further in Tassie and Vic.
Yeah, so when you hear a yield of 4 or 5% in Vic, compare it to Queensland or WA, it's
It's like a 6 or 7.
yeah, it's about a 6 compared to a Queensland property.
Because rates, insurance, and whatnot a
that's
lot
right.
cheaper. Awesome. So that's that. As I said, it's cost me about 12. And then we've got another asset in Victoria, which I literally just settled on that a couple months back. 447. I won't tell you the region because we're currently buying in there and that's not nice. But again, to our clients, we've got assets there. 447. I purchased it for, renting it for 450. So again, it's just kind of that 5%-ish. So 2 lower yielding places, still very high, 5%. And again, that property's cost me, I think it's 14, give or take. I haven't even got it listed here. About 14K after all expenses. So
and they're both houses. Both
everything houses.
Okay.
Everything houses, obviously the duplex. I did have a rooming house. So we'll kind of put a pause. Does that all make sense? The values of the portfolio, we're sitting at 4.6, just shy of 4.7, and then we're at 71% LVR. Okay. So, yeah, still got a bit. I've literally taken out $240,000 worth of equity, which will take me back up to 80%. So you guys can run the numbers in there. It's pretty highly leveraged, but that's just where I'm at right now. So my portfolio, as we currently speak, and with the additional 3 assets that we're going to buy this year, because the goal is we're going to buy 3 more assets this year, whether we're going to buy just standalone resi properties or whether we're going to buy duplexes or triplexes or quadplexes. The portfolio the portfolio by the end of the financial year with, how many assets is that? 1, 2, 10. There'll be 10 assets in the portfolio. Will cost me just over $100,000.
Okay.
Some people, this is where it gets funny. Yeah.
Now people are going to go, is that a good move? What are you doing there? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Everyone's plan's different.
For sure.
Everyone's situation's completely different and circumstances, goals, and so we have to take that into consideration. Adrian's portfolio structure is very different to everyone else, and I always allude on to what is your strategy. And I think we had Sebastian here on our podcast, who's our broker, talking about how important that is and how you structure it as well. So you've structured in a way where you can, not tap out. By doing that, I think for people listening, going, how you get all these properties, it's not just income. It's got to do with you're hiding the debt in all these properties under a trust.
Yep. Different trusts.
And there's a bit more to it of how you've done it and how it's structured. Some of you put high deposits, some are cash flow positive. None of these properties are in your name, which is awesome as well.
Correct.
So that's helped a lot. So now
First three were under my name.
Yes, the apartment and the 2 apartments and the other house that you had in Faulkner. So now you're looking a bit more differently, and you said you're looking at a rooming house, or you were.
Yeah. So I've got a triplex in front of me now. Essentially, here's the goal. The goal is we're going to get to $6 million. Always changes
in asset value.
In asset value, $6 million, and I actually think that. So I pester a lot of clients that come on about a goal, and they always like having a goal is super hard because you're like, I just want to buy fucking 100 properties. I remember going for a walk. It was at your Bucks party, actually. I went for a walk in the morning, went for a big run with Sebastian, our CFO, who manages our entire portfolio. And we went for a run. Then we went for a walk along the beach and we talked specifically about this. And at the end of that walk, I said, cool, let's go for the goal. And the goal is, the number one goal, $200,000 to $250,000 worth of passive income, net passive income. Once I said it, Sebastian and I have now gone away and gone, cool, every single decision now is based on this. So, and it's going to be very, very difficult. We are essentially saying that we are going to buy this one more asset. I think I'm going to buy $1 million asset, right? A $920,000 asset now, which is going to get me up to about $6 million. From that point, we're then going to go, cool, how do we actually get to 200K, 250K? How we are going to do it, just for the viewer, I think you already know this. One, use Fresh Start Advisory's income. I'm a business owner, I get dividends. Fresh Start Advisory's dividends to pay off that debt, and also use the growth of those assets to then pay off the debt.
Yep.
Hence why I was saying before, buying a commercial asset or buying a triplex or buying these different assets, is it the right move if I'm actually going to be using the growth of it to sell off and pay it off?
Well, you know from your own experience of your first duplex, that's done well. So if you buy correctly, of course,
Correct.
you'll do well.
Correct.
I think the commercial is one of those things where it's a lot of factor to buy yield.
Yep.
And if the yield goes up, the value of the commercial goes up. Of course, there's natural appreciation. But I think with this triplex that you're trying to put into the portfolio will add a lot of value. Plus, you got what's the yield? What's the yield on that property?
It is going to be a 6.3% yield.
And with the scope of increasing that.
You can do. I mean, eventually you will be able to do something to it. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's going to cost me a lot less than, I guess, what a normal asset. I think we worked out it'd be about 10K. 10K.
Okay.
Which is fine. That's
10K
fine.
negative when you
10K
purchase it.
negative.
Okay.
Correct. At 100% lent.
Yeah.
Which is fine because it's
Or if you bought another house like you did,
it's 12 to
one's
15.
12 to 15. So you're saving that $2,000 to $5,000 roughly. If you buy this one, you're saying 10, but if you buy this one, you don't have to go to 10 properties. You can just get the 6 mil, hold there, and then just
Correct.
Just sit tight.
And the goal is that, I mean, a lot of my assets are like, call it the Bundaberg property. Now, if that wasn't, I'll probably hold that forever. I'm not ever going to sell that because that's just too good of an asset. But let's say it wasn't too good of an asset. I'd hold those assets, hold all my properties for 4 to 5 years. At the 4 to 5 year mark, okay, am I selling these assets off? Because they've hit their peak. Obviously, we are able to identify when it's at its peak. Sell that asset, pay down debt, reduce the cash flow. I am also, and this is a consideration for everyone, I'm also just about to go into the most expensive period of my life. Getting married, not that I'm having a big wedding, having kids, we'll be having kids in the next 12 to 18 months, buying a house potentially. I mean, that's not going to come first.
There's a lot going on.
I'm going into the most expensive period. So, and this is something Sebastian and I, and obviously you and Sebastian go very heavily on. Portfolio costs you $100,000. Like, it's not the nicest feeling saying, you got to earn $500,000 a year to just support your lifestyle plus a portfolio. So that is why we've kind of gotten to a point where we're like, cool, let's get to that. Point being $6 million. Let's start selling down the portfolio. And then let's get to a point, realistically, within 3 to 4 years, where I could be at a point where I've got $200,000 of income. For me, that's enough money. That allows me to go, cool, whatever happens, Christina's good. Or whatever happens, like with Fresh Start, we're good. So that's why we've decided on that. And I think
plus you're living at home now as well, so it's allowed you to save.
It's easier, correct.
It's easier at this point too.
100%.
So people might be sitting there going, judging, but I think that as well, you're living at home, which helps a lot too.
100%. Which
awesome.
Again, that'll be done in the next couple of months, that's then going to add to change what I can actually afford.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Are you looking at renovating granny flats or anything on any of these properties? Have you sat there and said, okay, can I add value to any of these properties to increase the rent so I'm not too negative?
Yeah, so my Bundaberg property I went down the route of speaking to a professional, adding a granny flat. We decided not to because the spot, the block is very weird. So we're not going to do that. With the other assets, I mean, yeah, definitely. I think Gaudi, we definitely can do something there. Kadali Way, not really.
Tassie one, you might.
Payne, yes.
You might be able to
now that I'm looking at it, but we Cool Town, we definitely will.
Yep.
We'll definitely be able to do something there. I tend to steer away from it because it's active. It's very active, and I'm like, can't be bothered for it.
But when we done the numbers on that granny flat for Bundaberg, 200K build, they estimated we're going to get $450 a week in rent. The rental yield on that was, I forgot what it was.
8%.
Yeah, something crazy. Like it'll be cash flow positive from day one.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
I do think we should look at some of these things, which will
And
help.
we probably will.
We will. But yeah, that's going to help with reducing. If we can reduce your 100 grand negative to, say, 60K in a couple years because of rent increases and things like that, plus adding to something like this, then it allows you to get another property.
For sure.
So, but we'll touch on that. And I think we'll do another review in 12 months' time. We'll see how we're going.
Yeah. Overall, the portfolio's in a fairly healthy spot. I mean, I think take away the 200K income goal, I sit on this portfolio for the next 10, 20 years, and we know this. This thing's going to be worth 15, 20, 25 million bucks by the time, let's say I didn't touch this for the next 60 years, right? If I didn't do anything else, no more buying, this portfolio will be worth a lot of fucking money, right? Yeah. However, and people get tied up on this. I think you and I have different beliefs on this. You're of the belief, don't ever sell, have it all there and just let it do its thing forever. And I think that's awesome. I'm of a different belief. I'm like, no, well, I would actually rather sell these properties to actually get an income. I think that's super important for me. If I in 5 years' time can sell down 4 or 5 assets and buy a family home outright, fuck, for me, I look at that and go, beautiful. And if I could also, at the same token, in a 10-year period, sell down, have a family home outright and also have 200K of income and be left with only a couple of properties, I am more of the belief. I'm like, I'd take that. Again, everyone does things for different reasons.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I think what will be good is the people listening to write in, listening to this, and share their views of what they think on the portfolio. And if they've got different ideas or different ways of looking at it, or maybe they structure their portfolio differently, it will actually be good to see what some of the people, listeners, actually, write in the comments, because I think there's multiple ways to skin a cat.
For sure.
It's just what works for you, what you want to do, how active you are. You're not a super active guy when it comes to
at all
doing development, or not developments, but granny flats and renos. You want to be more of the lazy investor, which is fine. Some people want to do that, and they want to do that work and add more value and reduce their cash flow. Fantastic. But everyone's different, and it's what works well for you. So
I think there'd be a lot of better investors than me personally, if I'm honest. I really do. I think people who have got their finger on the pulse and whatnot. Now, again, I've got a team around me, so I allow for that. And obviously my best time is spent on building my business.
Of course.
But I know there'd be clients I know that there's clients that have got their finger on the pulse. They track every cent and every dollar. And I think that is awesome. And if you have the ability and have the want and the drive to do it, I love it. I've probably cost myself hundreds of thousands of dollars for not being like that, potentially.
Or you're parking your money into a vehicle that you're earning and letting it grow, and you're growing your business. So that there is different to someone else that is just working a 9 to 5, and then they're treating their business as their investment portfolio.
Correct.
So yeah, some people are going to have a better portfolio. 100%. There's 27 million people in Australia. There's some.
I'm even talking about as a mindset.
Yeah, of course, and but it's different. It's very different to some people. You look at things differently to other people, and there's nothing wrong with that as well.
For sure. I think if I can leave it on one note, right, I might not have might not be looking at every dollar and every rental amount and every single thing. However,
but you're still increasing your rent and doing the right thing, because
I get it managed. What I'm trying to say is, as you sit here and I'm going through the numbers, and it's some people might look and go, how can you not look at that? How can you not be there? Like, my only focus, it's the same with a few of our clients. Steve Bay comes to mind, right? Just buy, when the money comes in, buy the other property, let it do its thing. Now, definitely obviously take care of your rents and make sure the maintenance. Like, I don't even know who my property managers are. Got no idea. So I don't manage a single thing. I've got no idea who my property managers are. To be honest with you, I don't even necessarily know where my properties are.
Never seen them.
You're
like me. I've only probably seen 2 of my properties.
Yeah, I've not seen one of my assets, right? So I actually think that is a very strong part of there's pros and cons with that, right? I actually think that because I've got not no care, I obviously care for my portfolio. It makes me a lot of money. It houses a lot of people.
But you got the trust of your team to look after it.
Correct. And that's the message that I want to say here. Because I have got the ability to just go bang, bang, and pull the trigger. I'm never at risk of pulling a trigger. I'll be on a call with Sebastian. He'll be like, we can't do this. By the end of the call, I'll already be messaging one of the guys, say, hey, we're buying again, right? If you haven't got that ability to be able to do that, if you haven't got the ability to have a team around you, it is very, 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 very important that you are across every number. You're across every rent. You're across every property manager. But yeah, what I was trying to say, I think there'd be better investors in just specifically talking about being and having their finger on the pulse than myself, for sure.
More of an active approach.
For sure.
Active investor versus a passive investor. Well, I think we've done a lot here. We've discussed everything.
Yep.
Leave a comment for the people who are listening that, if you've got a different way of doing this, or, you've got different strategy, or you just want to comment on the strategy. Love to hear your thoughts, and maybe we can discuss that in another episode. But I think share this podcast if you think it will relate to someone else, or if you want to share this strategy with one of your friends, family members, or definitely help them and make sure you can help other people by sharing wisdom. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you at the next episode. And Adrian, thank you once again.
Thank you, sir.